Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, let's unpack this. Today we're tackling a source that's, well, pretty unexpected, honestly. It might just shift how you think about everyday communication. It's a blues song.
A blues song, yeah. Not your usual academic text.
Exactly. We're diving into Jonathan Taylor's Punctuation Blues. Now, blues and punctuation seems like an odd mix, right?
Yeah.
Raw emotion meets rigid rules.
It does seem that way on the surface.
But as we get into these lyrics, I think you'll find some really deep insights into how we kind of encode our feelings, not just with words, but with these little symbols we use. This isn't just some quirky track. It's actually, I think, a pretty profound way to look at the subtext of, human connection.
And it's a brilliant choice for a deep dive, really, because it makes us look past the obvious. It's fascinating how, creative works, even a blues song can take something we see as mundane, like punctuation, and just pull out all this surprising emotional weight. So by really listening to the lyrics, you're gonna get a fresh perspective, almost a gut feeling, about how we use punctuation, how we perceive it, not just as grammar, but as these powerful emotional signals. They can shape whole relationships.
Absolutely. And the song just jumps right into it, doesn't it?
Yes.
Straight into that very human feeling, that mix of wanting something but being totally unsure. The narrator sings, "Punctuation, baby, do you love me? I can't tell. I asked you a question. You're using a question mark as well." It's so direct, isn't it? Personifying the question mark like it's the key. It makes me think of, those texts maybe you've sent, where you put that question mark really clearly, hoping for an equally clear reply.
And sometimes you just don't get it.
Exactly. You get something vague back.
Yeah.
It just nails that fundamental human need for clear confirmation, especially about feelings. So what's your take on him needing to point out he used the question mark? Is it just about being clear, or is there something more going on there?
Oh, I think it's deeper. That's a really sharp observation. The fact that he has to explicitly say, "I used a question mark," well, it points to a real vulnerability, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It suggests that even when the question is grammatically perfect, the answer, or maybe more importantly, the silence where an answer should be, leaves everything feeling so ambiguous
Right.
and painful.
Right.
And, in the blues tradition, there's often this theme of suffering, of things going round and round, unresolved longing. That opening line just captures it perfectly. The question mark stops being about syntax and becomes this raw, almost aching human plea for reassurance. Like, just tell me clearly, cut through this horrible uncertainty.
Yeah, that makes sense. And from that kind of gnawing uncertainty, the song pivots. It moves to a different kind of ache, doesn't it? The comma.
The comma.
He sings, "Why did you pause? It always hurts, that comma of yours." We all know comma is just a little break in a sentence, grammatically speaking. But here,
Yes.
it's obviously way more than that. What's the emotional weight of that specific pause in this relationship?
Well, that's where the song gets really clever, I think. The comma, which is usually just, a quick breath. Here it becomes a symbol for delay, for hesitation.
Or maybe holding back.
Exactly. Or even deliberately withholding something.
Yeah.
Think about those moments, right? In a really important conversation, someone pauses mid-thought.
Yeah, that gap.
That tiny gap, it can hold so much unspoken tension, more than the words sometimes.
Definitely.
It's not a definite no, not an ending, but this kind of agonizing limbo, a non-committal space. And the lyrics just capture perfectly how that small, grammatically marked pause can signal doubt, maybe a reluctance to really commit.
Yeah.
Or just a cruel way of dragging out the uncertainty, making the pain linger. It's almost like a passive refusal.
Wow. Yeah, and then the intensity just keeps building, moving to the exclamation mark. The plea gets really urgent. "Oh, baby, say yes, shout, an exclamation mark, that'd be best." It feels desperate, almost raw, like a cry for something undeniable.
It is.
And later, the song uses exclamation point, too. Same mark, different name. But it still carries that same powerful demand, that same urgency. What's really at stake for him here? Why does he need such an emphatic, shouted yes?
Well, it's more than just wanting a loud answer, I think. The exclamation mark in this context really highlights the narrator's sheer vulnerability.
Okay.
It's a plea for a yes that leaves absolutely no room for doubt. Zero ambiguity. He wants to completely wipe out any lingering uncertainty.
He needs it to be final.
Final and positive, yes. He's not just hoping for an answer anymore. He's practically demanding one that can't be misinterpreted or second-guessed. Like you said, final, like signing an emotional contract right there.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate emotional statement he's looking for, an emphatic confirmation of love. Or I suppose the potential for an equally emphatic rejection.
Which brings us inevitably to the biggest fear, the ultimate punctuation, the full stop.
The period. Yes.
The narrator says, but if you don't want to rock and my time's run off the clock, you've just got to tell me, baby, and use your full stop, period. Whoa. Okay, so the full stop isn't just ending a sentence here. It's the end. Full stop, the end of everything.
Yeah.
That dreaded finality.
Precisely. The full stop, or the period, yeah. In this song, it's the ultimate symbol of finality, no question. It is that dreaded conclusion, the end of the conversation, the end of the relationship, maybe even the end of hope for him. But what the song captures so brilliantly isn't just the ending itself, but that stark silence that comes after, that abrupt cutoff, that can feel even louder, more deafening than the breakup talk itself sometimes.
Yeah, the silence can be brutal.
It's the irreversible end. Communication just stops. A definitive line is drawn. It's just a stark reminder, isn't it, how a tiny little mark on a page can signify something so huge, so profound, and often, yeah, so brutal, like loss.
So, okay, bringing this all back together then. What's the big picture here? Punctuation blues. It feels like it masterfully personifies these marks we use every day, right? The question mark, the comma, the exclamation mark, the full stop. And uses them to map out this really complex emotional journey of a relationship.
Yeah.
You feel the uncertainty with the question mark, that painful waiting with the comma, the desperate need with the exclamation mark, and then that terrifying finality of the full stop. It takes you on this raw, relatable ride.
It really does.
And that repetition, the way the whole verse repeats, word for word, it just hammers home that unresolved feeling, doesn't it? That cycle of pain that's so blues.
Absolutely. And if you connect that to how we communicate more broadly, well, the song is just brilliant at showing how these tiny linguistic bits carry immense power, expressing emotions, signaling intent. The lyrics use these marks so effectively to show all those nuances, desire, doubt, finality, all wrapped up in this very personal, very relatable story. It really serves as this vivid reminder, I think, that even the smallest marks we make can totally shape how something is understood, how it feels. They can fundamentally change the meaning of a message or, like in the song, the whole foundation of a relationship.
Wow.
The song basically forces you to read between the lines, doesn't it? Into that silent but incredibly powerful language of punctuation itself.
So here's something maybe for you, the listener, to think about as you go about your day. Just consider how much unspoken feeling, how much hidden intent is actually being carried by the punctuation in your own communications, both when you write, obviously, but also when you speak.
Those verbal cues, too.
Yeah. Think about those pauses in conversations, maybe longer than they need to be, or the emphatic way someone says something, or even when someone avoids giving a clear, definitive statement in an email or a chat. Understanding those subtle cues, learning to notice them, it can really deepen your interactions, help you, read between the lines better, and maybe, just maybe, help you avoid ending up with your own version of the punctuation blues.